Have you ever wondered how one man, Adolf Hitler, led to the deaths of over 6 million Jews? How could hatred and propaganda spiral into one of the worst genocides in human history? To understand Hitler's relationship with the Jewish people, we must go back long before World War II to the roots of antisemitism in Europe. For centuries, Jews had been scapegoated across the continent. Blamed for everything from the Black Plague to economic crises, they were often portrayed as greedy, untrustworthy, and foreign even in countries they had lived in for generations. In Germany, this prejudice became more dangerous after World War I. Following Germany's defeat in 1918, the country was humiliated. The Treaty of Versailles placed crushing economic burdens on Germany. Inflation soared, millions were unemployed. People were angry, desperate, and looking for someone to blame. Hitler, an Austrian-born soldier who fought in WMD, seized this chaos as a political opportunity. In his infamous book, Mein Kampf, written in prison in 1924, Hitler outlined his extreme ideology. He blamed Jews for Germany's defeat in the war. He accused them of controlling the banks, the media, and corrupting German culture. He called them a threat to the purity of the Aryan race and labeled them as parasites. But Hitler's hatred wasn't just personal, it was strategic. He knew that uniting the masses against a common enemy could help him rise to power. When Hitler became Chancellor of Germany in 1933, anti-Semitic propaganda exploded. Jewish businesses were boycotted. Laws were passed to strip Jews of citizenship, jobs, and basic rights. Children were taught that Jews were inferior in schools. The media spread lies daily. The most terrifying part? Much of the population accepted it. By 1935, the Nuremberg laws officially declared Jews as second-class citizens. Intermarriage between Jews and non-Jews was banned. Jewish passports were marked with red letters. Bit by bit, they were being erased from society. And then, in 1938, came Kristallnacht, the night of broken glass. Synagogues were set on fire, Jewish shops destroyed, and thousands of Jews arrested and sent to concentration camps. The message was clear: the Nazi regime was prepared to escalate. When World War II began in 1939, Nazi Germany invaded Poland, and with it, took control of millions more Jews. At first, Jews were herded into ghettos, crowded, disease-ridden neighborhoods where survival was nearly impossible. But by 1941, Hitler's plans became far more sinister. The Nazis began implementing the final solution, a systematic plan to exterminate every Jew in Europe. Concentration camps like Auschwitz, Treblinka, and Sobibor were built not just for labor, but for mass murder. Gas chambers, forced starvation, medical experiments, death on an industrial scale. By the end of the war in 1945, over 6 million Jews, including 1.5 million children, had been murdered. Not by accident, not by chaos, but through carefully planned genocide. Why? Because Hitler believed their very existence was a threat to his vision of a pure German empire. But behind the ideology was also cold calculation. Hitler used anti-Semitism to consolidate power, silence opposition, and unite a broken nation under a banner of hate. The Holocaust wasn't just about race. It was about control, propaganda, fear, dehumanization, and it showed how dangerous words can become when backed by state power and blind loyalty. Today, the world remembers the Holocaust not only to honor the victims, but to remind ourselves: hatred, once normalized, can lead to horrors beyond imagination. Never forget where it started, and never let it happen again.